This is such a tough thing. We're good on this side?
Yep, all good.
Hello. I'm calling to order the 20th session of the 55th Senate. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All who are willing and able, please stand. Ready? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations of Pecos. This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for numerous of the native tribes. We recognize the indigenous people as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. CSU is founded as a land-grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion, and significantly that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land this university is built upon. This acknowledgement is the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment. Next, we have the swearing in of senators and associates. So if you're swearing in, please come to the front. And I ask the Chief Justice to come down and deliver the box.
All right, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Frankie,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
and will rightfully perform
and will rightfully perform
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Next, we move on to the beginning roll call. Can the clerk call the roll? Alrighty, Chair Bakari. Chair Kelly.
Here.
Senator Barrett. Senator Cole Johnson.
Present.
Senator Winston. Senator Tabib.
Present.
Senator AP. Here. Chair Oslan. Here. Chair Menanti.
Here.
Senator Hill.
Present.
Senator Melfire.
Present.
Senator Schumer. Present. Senator Chacon. Senator Snyder. Chair Taylor.
Here.
Senator McAllister Johnson. Here. Chair Trout.
Present on Zoom.
Senator Davis.
Here on Zoom.
Chair Frisky. Here. Senator Reese. Here. Associate Senator Rivera. Present. Senator Barron. Associate Senator Camber. Present. Senator Lasser.
Present.
Associate Senator Alvarez. Here. Senator Pickerel.
Here.
Senator Yankowski. Here. Senator Buckner. Here. Associate Senator Ozor.
Here.
Associate Senator Leggett. Associate Senator Miller. Present. Associate Senator Myers.
Here.
Associate Senator Byrd.
Here.
Senator Huizenga. Senator Vaughn. Associate Senator Turner. Associate Senator Morgan.
Present.
Senator Salazar.
Present.
Senator Melka. Senator Chansey. Senator Rivera. Present. And Associate Senator Bishara. Present. Your name was not called, please go to the clerk after and get your name on the roll call, so we don't forget you. Next, we have consent agenda. Is there any consent? You would like?
I'd like to motion to move ratification of outside members to the end of conference business.
To the end?
Near the end, we have a Met Press committee. Seconded. Sorry.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, say- Any abstentions?
Same.
Great. We'll move this later.
I would like to move to remove, it's 5315, I believe, the accessible, that's not the actual title of it, but yeah, we're gonna move to take that off. It has not been released from committee. We're working with the election manager, Caitlin Spencer, to get it where it needs to be, so it's not there yet. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on how we can better move forward on that. Thank you.
And since that's the author, it does not need motion. Seconds. Any other changes to the agenda? Great. Seeing none, we move on to gallery input. Is there anyone from the gallery who wishes to speak at this time? Seeing none, we move past guest speaker to executive reports. Anyone from the executive branch like to report at this time?
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Michael Stella. I'm the Director of Governmental Affairs. I just want to give a quick recap of ASCSU Day at the Capitol. I think it's one of the more important events we do, and we definitely had a big impact, I think, this year for the student body. So the first picture you saw was a picture with the governor. That was a pretty big deal. You'll notice that there's a lot of students here. Last year we had 23 students attend this event. And this year we actually had 44 students join us in Denver. We actually had a wait list of 25 students. So we had 75 students in total that were interested in going to this event. Now, when students got to the Capitol in the morning, half the group went to the House floor, the other half went to the Senate floor, which I think was a unique opportunity to see our legislative body in action on the floor. And we're on the Senate floor. Senators like Senator Fields and Buckner approached us about legislation they want us to join in on, such as the Colorado Student Bill of Rights. So it was pretty cool to have senators approaching us about legislation they want us to support and help pass. I think this is one of the more pivotal parts of the day. We had a conversation with Governor Polis regarding the cost of higher education. In Colorado, the governor sets the budget, and then the Joint Budget Committee reviews that budget. And the governor consistently underfunds higher education. So we had a conversation with him about bringing that level of funding up. And he also expressed interest in supporting House Bill 241018, which is the college sales and use tax exemption bill, which is the bill that came from ASCSU to make textbooks sold in our university bookstore tax exempt. So it's pretty cool to have him support that. He also expressed support for House Bill 241007, which would ban U+2 at the state level. He tried doing this at the last legislative session last year, but that effort failed. So we're proud to be behind him on this go around to try to get U+2 banned at the state level. And I think the student testimony in House Bill 241018 was really the crux of the day. It was really the big event. This is probably one of the first times, if not the first time, in our organization's history we had students at Day at the Capitol testifying on a bill that originated from our offices. So it is a big deal to have students there, giving their personal stories about the cost of higher education and how the cost of textbooks, prevents students from buying groceries, it prevents students from paying rent. So it's really important. And something I'll say from that is every legislator on the committee, even if they voted against the bill, expressed how how important it was to have students there and hear student voices, because a lot of times our voices aren't represented in those rooms. But they were very tuned in into what students were saying. After our testimony, we had a legislator luncheon. The Attorney General, Phil Weiser, joined us for that lunch. It's not the greatest picture, but we had about 15 to 20 senators and representatives join us. And just like Community Roundtable back in the fall, this is an informal opportunity for our state electeds to interact with our student body. In the afternoon, we had a number of meetings with Representative Dougherty, Representative Basenecker, Frizzell, Woodrow, and Hernandez. We talked at great lengths with Representative Basenecker about the college textbook sales and use tax exemption bill and what else we can do to get that across the finish line. I have a couple of stats I wanted to share about the cost of putting on Day at the Capitol. The line item in state local policy for this event was $4,000. And we knew that the thematic year of democracy would give us funding for that event. So we spent about $4,300 to put on the event, but the thematic year contributed $1,500. So it brought the total cost for ASCSU down to $2,800, which I think is a pretty big accomplishment because the cost per student before thematic year was $99. And then after the thematic year contributed, it was only $64 per person to bring 44 students down to the Capitol to testify on our own bill and to tell legislators that we're serious and we want to be part of the policymaking process. So that was everything I had. I just want to give a recap and some pictures to kind of encapsulate and give everyone an idea what the day was like. For everyone who went, I think it was a really important day, and next year hopefully we can bring more students to the Capitol. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Silverhart. I use the he series pronouns, and I am your vice president for this year, and I have someone fantastic to introduce.
Hi, my name is Lauren Johnson, and I'm Alex's intern. It's lovely to meet you all.
She's an ASCSU intern. A vice presidential intern. But we have been working on a few different things. I wanted to talk about a few of them, and then Lauren's going to talk about a inter-branch bonding opportunity that we are trying to start here at ASCSU. First off, I don't know if WGAC senators talked about this at the last meeting, but we had the Sweet Shop occur last Tuesday, the day before Valentine's Day. And because of funding that we were able to secure very last minute, we were able to distribute over $1,000 worth, but 200 free Plan Bs to students. And they were extremely excited at this opportunity, which kind of further pushes the desire to have the wellness vending machines on campus. We're currently waiting on responses from the president's office in order to officially approve the initiative, in addition to Aeromark, which is the major vending corporation on campus. And so we need approval from them and hopefully buy-in from them to help start that project. And if there is buy-in from them, we'll have to contribute very little financially, but still expect a bill hopefully within a month or two. In terms of SFRB, we had a very, very interesting vote on Monday. So taking into account the presentation, the survey we had sent out, which I sent out very late to send it tonight, I will be sending it out right after my presentation here. But we ended up voting no on the athletics fee increase for the $5 that would have gone to the debt service for the softball field and the soccer field. It has been a while since SFRB has voted no on a mandatory fee increase, and it's considered mandatory because it's going to a debt service. If you have more questions or interest about that process, please reach out to me. We plan on talking with athletics more and their new director of athletics within the coming weeks. We voted yes on the ALBS bill, or on the ALBS budget. They weren't asking for any sort of increase, mandatory or non-mandatory, and so that was a pretty easy vote from us. This week we heard from the Office of Off-Campus Life and Slice, and each of them are requesting less than $1. I think Slice is 56 cents for full-time on-campus students, and OCL was 31. No, other way around. Slice was 31 cents. OCL was 56 cents. And both of those fee increases are going towards salary increases for both full-time and student staff to make sure that these positions remain competitive. And I will be sending out the survey for that right after this. Lastly, we're gonna have our second last blood drive of the year on March 4th from 11:30 to 3:30 p.m. So if you're interested in donating, or if you have student groups that may be interested in donating, I think it does technically count as 1 hour of community service, but I think more importantly is you have the potential to save lives without having to go through 4 years of medical school. So I'm looking at the VMBS people in the room. It's a great opportunity. I've donated blood before, and they have lifted the MSM deferral. So for men who have sex with men for a while, I'm going to say we were not able to donate blood because of a lot of the misconceptions and discrimination that came out of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s. And so since then, the FDA has changed it. There are still questions regarding sexual practices. And if you have questions about those, please come to me. I'm relatively versed in those questions, given my involvement with planning blood drives for the past few years. I'm going to turn it over to my intern, Lauren, to talk about that bonding opportunity that we are trying to plan and collaborate with Senate on.
Alrighty, y'all. So I am trying to have an all ASCSU bonding opportunity for everyone. I am a certified group fitness instructor and I've taught for a little bit over a year. I would like to have everyone be involved in an all ASCSU group fitness class. Something that I always stress for any of my group fitness classes is that everyone feels safe and empowered through movement. So I want to provide an inclusive environment that everyone feels safe and comfortable to come to. So it will be, I teach cycle, kickboxing, and HIIT classes, which is high intensity interval training, but we will be doing a kickboxing class. So it can be a really wonderful cardio workout, but everyone is invited and I would love to see all of y'all there. We have some QR codes that Alex is passing out. This will be sent in the weekly email and the deadline will be next Friday, excuse me. But I would love to see y'all there and then just have some community building, some connection making events. I think that there's just been a lack of that I've seen in ASCSU and I would like to start that off right. So please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. There will be just a couple of questions asking how we can best accommodate you if you're being available, but we would love to see you there. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Madeline. I'm the Director of Traditions and Programs. It's been a while since I've been up here, but I do have some updates on what we're planning for the semester. And so I just do a lot of event planning. And so I'm super excited about what the semester is going to bring for ASCSU. There are 3 events that if y'all have like your calendars out or your notebooks, I would love to take you to have you guys take this down. But the first thing is our Rail Jam event that is happening on March 21st from 5 to 8 p.m. And so it's going to be a really great event just for people to come out and experience skiing and snowboarding for the first time on the LSU West lawn. The next event is going to be the Feast of the Food Truck event that we started last year, or we are in collaboration with the back office with. It's going to be on May 2nd. Last year, it unfortunately fell on the same day of Cabinet and Senate, and so a lot of people weren't able to make it. But I made sure that this year it's going to be on a Thursday. And so that's May 2nd from 3 to 8 p.m. out in the Hartshorn parking lot area. So for that event, we're essentially giving out a whole bunch of free food from local food trucks. And we're going to have a whole bunch of field day games and a student versus staff basketball game. So it's going to be a really great opportunity just for ASCSU to get their name out there, but also like an end of the year celebration for the entire campus. And then so for that, we're still planning our like planning committees. And so I just want to take a count of like if there's anyone who wants to be involved in that planning process for the food truck event. No? Oh, yeah, okay. Got one. Anyone else? No? Okay. So the next thing is the inaugural ball. So every year ASCSU hosts a dance at the end of the year just to celebrate all of our accomplishments and just to close out the year. And so this year it is going to be on May 1st during the normal Senate and Cabinet times. And so essentially instead of coming to Cabinet for the last time, you'll be coming to this fall where we'll give out awards for the entire year. We'll have speeches, we'll have food, and some other things. And so if y'all want to be on that planning committee, I will also be collecting names for that. And so for that, you'll be helping us pick a theme, setting up for decorations, and just making sure that everyone has an amazing time just to close out everything we've done this year. Does anyone want to be involved in that planning process? Yes. Anyone over here? And what was your name? Okay. Perfect. So I will be sending out a Teams message and we'll probably have some like bi-weekly meetings. But it's really fun. We got three really big events that we're planning this semester. It's a great way to get ASCSU's name out, and it's been really fun just working with different campus organizations just to make sure these things happen. The food truck event will be amazing. Come get free food, invite your friends, tell other groups that you're a part of. And so, yeah, just a great way to end the spring semester. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jakai Menley. I'm the Deputy Director of Health. I use the he series of pronouns. I have updates from both me as the deputy and my director, Georgia, who cannot be here with us tonight. She is at the Holocaust Survivors panel tonight. There are new stickers that will be at mental health tabling next week on Wednesday. Feel free to stop by. They're the cutest thing ever. Those are words from Georgia herself. So make sure you come stop by and get some of those stickers. The theme for that tabling day is basic needs, exploring the intersection between mental health, housing, and food insecurity. So good stuff, and some more good information will be there that day. Second thing is we ended up having our multicultural counseling meet and greet today. It went very well. Students and staff were very receptive to that. So just please make sure that you're connecting with Maria Davis to get some really good information about what's happening with multicultural counseling, and to be able to share that resources with your friends who you know that may benefit from that, because it is important and imperative that we make sure students know about that. It's an amazing resource. Her office is actually on this floor, I believe, 235. So write that down, send it to your friends. It's amazing stuff. From my work, I have, as it relates to the Purify program or the Purify initiative, I have a meeting with Director of Housing, Joshua Maxwell, here shortly. And so if there's anything that you guys, I specifically want to open up to Senate, because I know there was some questions about the Purify initiative in whole. So if there is anything that you would like me to ask, or anything that you want to make sure that I bring back from that meeting, or just in general, please feel free to email that or send it through Teams, or however your best method of connection or communication is to me. Lastly, we are hosting Ryan Silence on March 20th, 5 to 7. Please mark your calendar. That is a little less than a month away. Please make sure to show up and tell a friend to tell a friend. I actually just got flyers in, the flyers and other promotional materials for that in today. So that'll be exciting. So be on the lookout for that as you're walking. That's all I have for you from health. Thank you.
All righty, thank you, Deputy Director Nunley. You can tell it's been a long day because I've had coffee at 7 p.m. So, well, if I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, my name is Braxton Deese. I serve as the Chief of Staff here at ASCSU. Just a quick couple updates for the lovely legislative body tonight. Firstly, myself, the Vice President, and the Director of Diversity and Inclusion are planning a ASCSU Invites event. If you recall, we did one with RSO leaders and a few others in the fall semester. So this one will be with SDPS and ALDS offices. We'll be connecting with the senators that represent those areas. We have connected already with a few of y'all to get y'all's input on that and kind of get a planning committee together. We're hoping that'll be in early March. Real quick, can everybody take out their phones or computers or favorite method of communication via Teams? See very many people taking it out. If you could take it out, that would be awesome. Check out the Teams general chat. I just sent a sign up genius for all about ASCSU tabling. ASCSU is going to be on the plaza every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Getting students engaged, getting new members in, hearing from students on what they want to see on campus. And I would love for y'all to come out there and talk about some of the bills that are hitting the floor that night, and get students' voices and opinions on that. Truly, without those that we represent, we're just kind of a bunch of people sitting around in a fancy room talking about pointless stuff. So I think that that's very important. So check that out if you will. While you have your phones out, you can mark your calendars for next Wednesday, 5 to 6:30 p.m. Me and our public relations officer are organizing an all ASCSU social hour at our February business of the month, Momo Lolo, on Elizabeth Street. So we'd love to have everybody come out from all branches and all boards. That'll be 5 to 6:30 p.m. Unfortunately, we're not providing food free, but you're welcome to come out and hang out. Me and Senator Hamburg have talked a lot. How many times can I throw this pin tonight? Have talked a lot about it's important to bond outside of the formal space. And so this is a way to do that. And then finally, myself and the finance department, in coordination with the ASCSU accountant and the Slice LSC accountant, are working on a bill to elects to create a statement of fiscal management for legislation that spans multiple years and allocates money for multiple years. So for example, my transportation program that spends $12,000 every year for 4 years, there has to be an accountability piece for those sort of things instead of just institutional knowledge from one individual. We would love some input on this. This was an idea that spurred up just last week. So we're still in the initial stages of it. If I could get maybe a raise of hands of initial interest, and then feel free to contact me afterwards. I've got Camberg. Anybody else? Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Perfect. Feel free to contact me about that later on as well. Yeah, we're writing a Lex to institute a system for fiscal management of legislation that spans multiple years and doles out money over those multiple years, if that makes sense. Perfect. Okay, awesome. We'll be in touch. And okay, Frankie as well. Anybody else? Swiggity swag. Well, I'll stop bothering you.
Next, we have judicial reports.
Hello, my name is Elena Truxell. I'm the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. This was last week's opinion. I just wanted to put it back up in case anybody thought of other questions. There were not a lot of people here last week, and I'll just reread it too. So the opinion concerned like Senate changing the elections code. The first question was, does Senate have the power to change the ASCSU referenda and elections code? To which the court found that the Senate, any senator with the endorsement of the elections manager, may amend the ASCSU referenda and elections code. We found that the Constitution states in section 806, referenda and code C, that the ASCSU referenda and elections code may only be amended by a Senate bill specifically delineating all proposed amendments. So that secures that senators may amend it. However, we looked to precedent in changing of the elections code and found that every time we saw a change, there was an endorsement or a sponsorship from the elections manager if it wasn't coming from the elections manager themselves. So using that precedent, it showed that while the Senate does have the ability to introduce amendments in the form of a bill, the endorsement and or sponsorship of the elections manager is required. Basically, it is the opinion of the court that while the Senate does have the power to amend the code, they cannot subvert the input of the elections manager relating to any changes of the code. And we thought this basically because the elections manager is an impartial third-party source and senators are affected by the elections and may be running in the elections. So just to maintain that sort of checks and balances, we wanted endorsement from the elections manager if there were to be any changes. The second question was if Bill 5315 was passed, will it need to be re-ratified in the spring? Or actually, sorry, that's the third question. The second question was, is a petition required to change the elections code? And we found that a petition process is only required if the process outlined above is circumvented. So if you wanted to go around getting approval and endorsement from the elections manager, you can go through the petitions process, which is outlined in the referenda and elections code in sections 3 and 4. The final question, or the third question, was about 5315, and we found that it would not need to be re-ratified in the spring, as in the Constitution, Section 806, subsection D, it says the ASCSU referendum and elections code shall remain in effect at all times and shall not require yearly readoption. The final question was, are there any other special rules for amending the election code other than those regarding time? You can find those rules in the Constitution, Section 806, subsection D through K. And we found that no, there are no other rules outside of those. But yeah, I'll open it up now in case anybody has any questions or comments. Swag. All right, moving on.
Which one you want first?
Up to you, whichever one you choose.
Okay. It's gonna cabinet members of elections.
Great. Okay, so this one was about clarification of the allowance of cabinet members on the elections committee. The court found that, and also this vote is, that's wrong, sorry, it's actually 7-0-0. That was a temporary vote. But anyways, the court determined that membership on the elections committee is solely up to the discretion of the elections manager. The court looked to Section 804C of the Constitution, which states, quote, "The elections manager shall select these impartial and unbiased members of ASCSU to serve on the elections committee." End quote. The elections manager is the only official responsible for determining membership and installing members of the elections committee. So basically, our idea is, in that sentence, it says, elections manager shall select these impartial and unbiased members of ASCSU, members being inherently anybody in ASCSU, could be a student or an official of ASCSU, and it is up to the discretion of the elections manager to determine that impartiality, along with you all as any elections committee member must go through ratification. So, any questions? All right, moving on. Okay, this one was a doozy, and we voted to hear the opinion originally, and I think it's because we didn't realize the full impact of answering the question. And after speaking to advisors, we realized that answering it isn't exactly in our purview, as while we are our own organization that has the right to govern itself, there are inherent things that are up to the decision of things like the Board of Governors, just like how, you know, we used to have the ability to impeach our president or something, and now we don't because of the Board of Governors. So it's just like things like that. We thought that just to, I don't know, not to step on anybody's toes, we decided that, well, I'll just read it. The court determined, after careful consideration and thorough review of our authority and jurisdiction, that we are unable to render an opinion or decision on this matter. The court is committed to upholding the principles of fairness and integrity within the Associated Students of Colorado State University. However, it is essential to recognize the limitation of our authority. Upon review, it has become apparent that the issue at hand falls outside the purview of the court's jurisdiction. While we may not have the authority to intervene in this particular question, we remain committed to supporting the student body and promoting a campus environment conducive to growth, learning, and mutual respect. And we appreciate your understanding and cooperation in this matter. I think another reason that we decided that we shouldn't really answer this is it wasn't really applying to anything at hand necessarily, like nothing really happened that would require us to need to answer this. But yeah, any questions? Senator Camber?
So while we have to have some ability to self-govern because we do make our own rules and policies. I guess maybe then the real question is to ask then what authority we do have over ourselves. Now, I understand it's a bigger question to ask how that applies to other organizations and across the university. That might be way too broad of a scope. But is there a way for the court to maybe clarify a little bit on what we do have the power to govern as far as governing ourselves?
I'd say the answer to that question lies within the Constitution. In every section of the Constitution, we have an enactment clause and a powers clause, and that pretty much answers our powers and our abilities. Anything else? All right. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Now move on to legislative reports. Officers and reports. I'm going to defer a lot of communication these upcoming a couple of weeks to Claudia. As of this weekend, I will be out of town for a competition. As of next weekend, I will also be out of town. I will be back home. And I won't be back till Tuesday. So I will share this next Wednesday as well. I will not be back till Tuesday of next week, which means a lot of questions and stuff will be deferred to Claudia. Good luck. I don't think I have any other announcements. Yes. Committee abstracts. Is there any committees who wish to deliver an abstract? Chair Taylor.
The accessible and affordable elections bill is still in internal committee. We've had that for quite a while now, just dealing with a lot of things. We made some edits to it, and we've been waiting to have some communication with folks like the elections committee. And so I know that that's been in committee like a month now. And so if you had questions about that, that's why. That will still be in committee next week. And so if you have anything you want to talk about with that, you can come Monday, 12 to 1 and talk about that with us. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chair Christie. So Women's Caucus did meet yesterday. It was during BSOF, so we did not realize that. We might have to change the time, but we're looking into it. Only 3 people showed up, so please show up. And our main thing is we're working on a book drive. And we will be doing that throughout March for the Social Justice Library. So if you want to get involved in that, let me know. That's it. I yield my time. Thank you. Chair Trout.
Good evening, y'all. Hope you're doing well. This last week, we looked at our bylaws and approved of those. Pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. I will let folks know, you may have seen this in the opinion, but our vice chair for the Accessibility Caucus stepped down from his position. So next week, we'll be looking for a new vice chair for the Accessibility Caucus. I'm also going to be looking for a new social media and outreach officer for the caucus, just to help us more focus on that outreach perspective that we've been working on. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please reach out to me just so I kind of have a heads up of who's wanting to do what. But yeah, that's all the updates I have at this time. I yield.
Thank you, Chair Picard.
Adiel, as you may know, I'm the chair of the Housing Caucus. Should be an applause for that. Thank you. As you may know, last Friday we met at 4. It was like kind of like 4:20. Go CSU. To discuss housing initiatives. We had a grand total of 6 members. But don't worry, if you missed our inaugural session, we're meeting every Friday until the end of March. Around that time, ideally, I'd like to see more of y'all now, but then I'll be like a repeat bell curve, right? Like more of you and then less of you because we'll have more students because it's geared towards students and residents that live in Fort Collins that attend CSU. This is for off-campus and on-campus initiatives. I'm working on trying to get the team set up so like everyone has access to it and you all can look at what we do. But if you have anyone that has any qualms or requests or anything with housing, we're here to discuss it and guide people in the right direction. So if there's anyone you know, please send them my way or come to the Senate chambers on a Friday late afternoon. There'll be pizza soon, provided by Evan Welch. He won't be making it, but he will be funding it. So shout out to him. And with that, also the next session, we're going to be setting up an Instagram account. So like if you've never done that before, this is the time to come to the Housing Caucus. Granted, many of you probably do have Instagram, but this is a group Instagram, so it's a lot different teamwork. So pull up. We'll be meeting in this chamber around like 4:30 probably because the executive has their own little shenanigans going on. But after that, we'll meet at 4 to 5 until the end of March. So with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee abstracts? Moving on to Senator and Associate Senator reports. Associate Camper.
All right, I am so sorry. You'll probably get really sick of hearing my voice. I've got quite a few updates for y'all. LSAB took some stances on the bills I spoke about last week. We went ahead and took a support stance on allowing students to wear their own regalia to graduation. We took a monitor stance on the firearms and safe spaces bill. We've got a lot going on with accessibility. So we've had a lot of discussions about the fiscally and otherwise accessible elections. That's still an ongoing conversation. We have some logistics to figure out there, but I'm excited to move forward. We also just launched a needs assessment for students with disabilities on campus to help kind of further inform both the class project where it originated, but also for the Accessibility Caucus and for ASCSU as well. So I think that what we'll probably do is put together a report similar to what Accessibility Caucus did and present that here in this space. We do have a channel for accessibility to try to figure out what this next iteration of the accessibility elects, what we want that to look like. I think Kevin is furiously tapping away over here working on a new rendition. And we'd like to encourage anyone who wants to be involved in what that looks like and what the language looks like and how we're going to move forward, especially kind of not knowing really where our authority lies as an organization, whether we want to take a leadership stance and govern our own organization and set a good example, or whether we want to try to create legislation that codifies accessibility across campus. We're going to be putting up some polls and things like that in that channel. If you want to provide asynchronous feedback, we'll probably be trying to make a decision on how to move forward very quickly here because we have a lot of work to do. Also, I'm going to be planning a community outreach event in April for all the stakeholders who want to see U+2 removed. We do have legislation at the state that could potentially get rid of that, but we don't know if that's really going to happen. We don't really know how committed city council is, if they've been doing the work, because they might have, as they have in the past, take a back seat while the state figures out what the state's doing. So keep an eye out. We'll get a date set for that. We're going to get some of the housing groups and other stakeholders, probably at the Morgan Library. Tentatively, it's looking like it's going to be a Thursday night sometime in April. To bring some voices to the table and do some strategic planning for what that looks like and how we can move forward, especially with an upcoming election. We might be able to spring another ballot initiative, in which case, if we have 70 people who are committed to gathering 100 signatures, you can do that in an hour or an afternoon, we can put it on the ballot. And I think this is a really, really big year to be able to do that. So I just want to put that on y'all's radar now so that you're not shocked or blindsided when we move forward with that housing caucus. We'll want y'all to be involved in that too. Poor Evan Welch is not that Evan, but our housing security director is constantly having to try to keep up with the community efforts that leading in a different direction. But the reason for that is so that ASCSU can maintain its relationships with the city and that we have another organization, another coalition working outside of this space with a little bit more enthusiasm and assertion. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's all that I have for y'all. The link to that needs assessment is in that channel. And then if Ava, you would just make it available for anyone rather than having to add people manually. If you could just make it public to anyone in the teams, that would be awesome. And with that, I yield.
Thank you, Chairman Maloney.
Hey y'all. So it's still Black History Month. So I got some events for y'all still, such as tomorrow, we have a fashion show in the Laurie Student Center. It's going to be from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Go out, check out some Black design fashion by, guess what, students. So support your students who are pursuing fashion, because that stuff is very fast paced, and you could be on top of the new trends. Also, as always, we have Real Talk on Tuesday. Real Talk is held in the back office from 4 to 5. I went to this one this week. It was really good and productive. It was on gender and race. It was very interesting talk. It was in collaboration with Pride, and honestly, we had very much in depth. We went over time, and that just goes to show you just how good that conversation was. On February 27th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., there's going to be a Black History Month film in the Behavior Science building. I definitely recommend going to checking it out, learn, expand your knowledge. We always love learning more about Black history. And I guess I'll just say the last event, from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on February 29th, the last day of Black History, we will be having our Black History Month closing open mic night in the Michael Smith Alumni Center. So come support your fellow people of color. And it will be our closing for Black History Month. Then we'll see you on Juneteenth. And I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Chair Frisky.
Okay, so we have a lot of things in the works. A lot of things aren't solidified yet, such as our Sexual Assault Awareness Month. But we do have coming up on Monday is a boundaries workshop for the Surviving Healing Together. You do have to register, so email the WJAC if you're interested. And the biggest thing is the 2024 Feminist Queer Empowerment Conference. We are still looking for presenters if you want to host like a breakout session that can be about pretty much anything that is involved with gender, sexuality, anything in that realm. So it is in collaboration with the Pride Center. So it's the WJAC and Pride Center working together. And also we need volunteers. So if you want to volunteer, there is a form that I can put out if I can find it. I yield my time.
Thank you, Chair Charles.
Hi, y'all. Just a couple of quick updates for y'all. Ramride will be operating this Saturday. We're still waiting for a couple of folks to submit in documents for Friday. So if we are not operating on Friday, check out our Instagram and we'll be posting lift codes to get around. Additionally, for off-campus life updates, I know a lot of folks are looking for housing around this time of year, whether you're looking for, moving out of the dorms or moving out of your current place. Know that off-campus life is here to support you in your need of searching for housing. So if that is something that you need, please reach out to our team there. And kind of jumping off that as well, if you're going to be renewing your lease, or if you're going to be doing anything like that, remember that Student Legal Services offers free lease review. Having an attorney go over a lease is super, super helpful. And it's just nice having an attorney on your side for literally everything and anything. So there are resources here on campus for folks who are looking for housing. I know we'll also be working with the Supreme Court again in doing a roommate revival. But when we get more updates on that, I'll let folks know about that. But that's all the updates I have. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Any other senators associates wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we move into confidence business. In the parliamentarian for 2 hours with a confidence clock. And we're going to start with the ratification of the Deputy Director of Traditions.
All right, surprise, surprise, I'm back. Perfect. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Executive Branch's newest hire, Mahalit, to the Deputy Director of Traditions role. Go ahead and give her a welcoming round of applause. Mahalit, we saw a lot of applicants for this position, and Mahalit stood out. for her love of serving people and bringing people together in kind of these big events that the traditions department focuses on. Only a freshman, she's showing huge potential for future in this organization. And great work for the rest of this year. In her high school career as student body president, she was able to organize school dances with up to 1,200 people. So very impressive already, and more impressive stuff to come. So I'll give the floor to her to tell you a little bit about yourself, and then we can open it up to some questions.
Hi guys, I just want to say thank you for all accepting me with welcoming arms. Like he said, my name is Mahalat and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the new Deputy Director of Traditions. First semester I was solely focused on settling in my academics, that I realized I didn't take the time to figure out where I want to be involved, and being in student council all 4 years of my high school career, I realized that ASCSU was a perfect fit. So just hearing about the role, I was really excited to get involved and kind of just see what ASCSU has to offer and CSU as a whole has to offer. I can't wait to just learn from everyone's positions being new here. It's really nice to have a new fresh start, being that, again, I was in student council for 4 years. I'm just really excited to just get to know everyone and just learn what ASCSU is and what it brings to the school as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to open it up to Q&A with the first raised placard. Senator Amy.
Do you want to go first? Okay. How do you plan to uphold the university and ASCSU initiatives of diversity, equity, and inclusion?
In my high school career, something that I realized was that with the events that I had put on and we put on as an organization, it was always the same students showing up. And I was very grateful for those students to support my events and to support our events as a whole. But something I always wanted was for other organizations and other clubs to join. So I feel like advertisement is such a huge thing when it comes to having people show up and join your events. So I think that I really want to help advertising and just personally going into those clubs and inviting them firsthand to these events that we put on.
Have you read through the job descriptions of the position and why do you think you're most qualified for it?
Yes, I have. Before applying, I was kind of hesitant just because I wasn't sure if I was fully qualified, but once I read through the description, I realized that it's nothing new and that it's something that I've always done my entire life. And having that, I was just really excited to put on larger scale events, because even though I was in a school of 2,000 students, that is still miniature. So I am very excited just to do what I can and put in what I have and support my director in putting on the events and the traditions here. I'm also really, really intrigued about figuring out the traditions that we do have at CSU. So my director and I have been discussing creating a traditions book where we go to each department and ask them what traditions they have, and just making a book out of it. And it's something that we can pass on generation to generation.
How do you plan to balance ASCSU school and outside work?
Something I have always valued my entire life is organization. I feel like if you're not organized, everything kind of just blows up. So I feel like designating times for specific things is what personally helps me all the time. And then also, I think that everyone does this. I even did it as a senior class president last year, but it's okay to not be able to do things. And if you feel like you have too much on your plate, that's what delegating and admitting those things are for. It's kind of just setting down your pride and realizing that there are people around you to help you. And if you aren't able to do something, to just let people know, and people are willing to help you because they care. So, yeah.
Thank you. I got my time.
Thank you, Chairman Monty.
I yield to redundancy.
Right. Is there anyone else who wishes to ask questions at this time? Seeing none, we move into a period section of debate, and I ask that you step outside. We'll start discussion and debate with the first raised placard, Chairperson.
Can I go ahead and,
I think she's great. She seems wonderful and very, very qualified. Is it? Can I motion to previous question? Is that the right one? Okay.
With discussion and debate, we just need a form of talk, like, that is fine, like, what your statement was fine. We just need to say something before the motion and need to have some discussion.
Okay.
But you're great. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Great. We move on to a period of voting. Chair Taylor,
I move to accept this candidate with unanimous consent.
is there any dissent to that motion? Hearing none, this candidate is ratified with unanimous consent. Don't clap yet, it's not bad.
I state your name.
I, Mohammed Siam,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
and will rightfully perform
and will rightfully perform
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now we move on to old business, starting with resolution.
It is a bill, but was listed as a resolution.
Supposed to be a bill. I don't know what number it is.
It might actually be a resolution. They have it mixed up with all their stuff. It's the spring reallocation.
You put resolution for your
It is a bill. It's not. It is a bill, not.
Right, Bill 5316. The budget reallocation. Committee chairs, is there any edits or changes made in your committees? Chair Haslam.
I think the primary change in Budgetary Affairs Committee was an author's edit, stating that $825 will be transferred from the traditions and programming budget from the line item of Forever Green Shirts to the discretionary fund.
Is there any other changes made in committee? As the representative here for this bill, do you accept these changes?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, this discussion.
Alright. We'll start discussion with the first raised placard. Chairman Auntie.
I vibe with this. I truly vibe with this. It's good to see that money is being transferred. We need it. And then can I motion to adopt the speakers list? I motion to adopt the speakers list.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Great. We are exhausting the speakers list. Next, we have Chair Taylor.
Can you, as the author, make an edit to take the enacted off of the therefore clauses so that it just says resolved and not both of them?
No, the other way.
Oh, the other way. 'Cause yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
Yes, as the author's delegate, I will accept that.
Thank you.
Great. Associate Camber.
Let's move this along. Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Oh, this is really weird. Okay. We're gonna move on to a period of voting. We're gonna do this by voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
What? This bill passes. That was a lot. I wanted to count. So, thing about the LSEB members, that they're in a lab until 7:50.
Yeah, and also our director of governmental affairs is otherwise occupied at the Holocaust survivor event until 8 o'clock, I believe. So I don't think I can make this motion, but we can recess or we can push it down the agenda.
That is the last of the agenda.
Oh,
technically, yeah.
let me, if y'all can recess until 7:50.
How about we get through committee and caucus reports? And then we'll recess until.
All right, I'm gonna go run around and find people.
Great. Yeah, LSAT members will be at the end, right before adjournment. So moving on, ending roll call, y'all, at 7:41.
There you go. Point of order, can we actually do that since we're not actually done with conference business? We're going back to following conference business.
Can we do ending?
We just we have tabled the ratification of LSAP, so we should be fine to just continue with our agenda so long as we don't adjourn.
Great. Chairman Monty.
As always, motion to have the beginning roll call used as end roll call and have anyone who arrived in later just get out on later.
Is there any dissent to that? Great. Committee reports, internal affairs.
Come to committee, Mondays, 12 to 1. If you would like to join the teams, let me know, I can add you to that.
Also with committees, we did deal out the first round of strikes this week. So if you got one and you are going to committees, please be careful because you can only have 3 before you are removed from your position. If you cannot make committee, please come and talk to me and Claudia during this recess and we can figure out another way for you to get your committee hours. Budgetary affairs.
Budgetary Affairs Committee is Tuesdays, 12 to 1. I canceled it this week, so I don't have a whole lot to report, and I don't think next week I'm gonna have any legislation, but next week I am planning to do an election for the 2 positions that I have lost I don't have a vice chair or a secretary right now, so I will be running elections for a vice chair and a secretary if enough people show up. Thank you.
Thank you, University Affairs.
All right, we didn't meet this week because didn't have anything and then slept the night before. I do not know if we'll be meeting next week if I didn't get anything tonight. But yeah, normally it's 1:30, 2:30 on Mondays.
Thank you. DI Affairs.
Come to committee. We don't got anything going on, but I have fun questions and I think the rest of my time.
Next to caucus reports, Women and Social Justice Caucus.
I don't have anything. I yield my time.
Accessibility Caucus.
Really quickly, since we were talking about accessible elections, if that's something you want to talk about in caucus, come to caucus and we can talk about it. That's all I got, y'all. I've had a headache from hell all day, so anyway, I yield.
Thank you. Housing Caucus.
Just to echo what I said earlier, we're meeting at 4:30 this week, but following weeks will be 4. Please come, bring a friend. I mean, I hope everyone, most people do live off campus or on campus. You can also bring people from Loveland. We'll take anyone from the surrounding areas. But do come. We only have 6 members. I'm trying to double that each time. So that might be a lot of people, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll work with that. Please come. It'll be here. I mean, y'all are all familiar with this place. Because housing is a basic need and we all need a bed to sleep in. So thank you.
Thank you. We need someone to make a motion. Chairman Monty.
Motion to recess till 8.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? All right, we'll see y'all.
Point of personal privilege, the mic is still muted. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Stell. I'm the Director of Governmental Affairs. I'm really excited to ratify these two members to the Legislative Strategy Advisory Board. First, we have Theo. Theo is a senior studying political science here at ASCSU. He's the current Director of Academic Affairs. Theo has a special insight into the legislature because he's there twice a week doing the CSU internship in Denver. So he brings a lot of experience, and he's been sitting in our last two meetings just observing and keeping his thumb on the pulse of what's going on. Our other member, and I should mention that Theo is going to fill the open executive seat because executive gets 4 seats on the board. And then Laura here is a sophomore studying political science. Laura was our at-large member, so she represents students not in ASCSU. And last semester, all 4 of those seats were filled. So Laura was what we called an associate member. So she didn't get to vote, but we had a member drop off, is actually Justin Melka. But so now Laura's going to take that open seat. We're excited to hear your questions.
Madam Speaker, a motion. A motion is to put these candidates on the slate with unanimous consent.
Great. Any other motion you want to make?
Well, then I'll motion to put them on the slate.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Oh, okay. All those in favor, please raise your placards.
Do we have a threshold, a voting threshold for this? Majority. Okay.
We gotta recount this. Please keep your placards up. Great. You all can put your placards down. All those against, please raise your placards. You can put your placards down. Got you. All abstentions. It's just majority. We count. With a vote of 15 to 4 to 8, these members are put on the slate. With that, you're going to start Q&A with the first placard. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hello, y'all. Thanks for applying. And first question, what experiences do you have in this kind of field with government?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So being a 4th-year political science student with minors in economics and legal studies, I can tell you from most of my classes, all we really do is go over bills and laws and how those bills and laws are passed, more so than basic schoolhouse rock definition. So I really had a lot of insight in the legislative process through my coursework, as well as a senator last year in this very chamber. So just getting to know how to write a bill, ask certain questions about bills, and specifically being the vice chair of budgetary affairs committee last year gave me a lot of insight on how the fiscal aspect of bills impacts a lot of the policies that in practices.
Hi everyone. So I am a non-voting member on LSAT for last semester, which gave me a lot of insight into this. Additionally, I was a part of my high school student government. I actually transferred from Skidmore College, so this is my first year at CSU, but I really want to be a part of it here. So I don't have a lot of prior experience, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Let's see. So what, is there any ideas on how you want to contribute to the board, like anything, ideas and different legislation that can help best impact students?
Yeah, so my experience sitting in on the board is really to have our governmental affairs director and our deputy director bring bills forward that really affect student body here, and we kind of hear the side, we hear both sides, or not both sides, we hear all sides, we hear from the bill authors and such like that, and really get a deeper understanding of the bills and how it will affect all students here on campus, not just select few. So bringing bills forward, I do not believe is within our forte. Rather, we take official positions on bills, and then we recommend and then we give those positions to our lobbyists we have down in Denver, and they lobby on behalf of all students here at CSU.
I agree with that. I don't think there's one specific bill I'm personally promoting or wanting to put forth. However, I do think that overall, having as much inclusivity as possible and also representing all of those people as much as you can is really important. And that's something I strive to do.
All right, that's all my questions, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Camper.
All right, so policy making is traditionally made by those who hold dominant identities. Your job is to represent all identities, even those that you do not hold. How do you intend to ensure that you're doing this?
That's a wonderful question. I intend to ensure that I am not just representing the identities that hold, but rather all the identities here at CSU by simply listening to them, seeing what they want out of this legislation, seeing what their issues they have, their experience with past legislation like this, because I do understand that there has been and still is very harmful legislation and policies that we have today, and you really can't have effective change and with change for the better, let's say, without listening to those individuals who have been adversely harmed by such policies, and really you just need to get their input and their voices and truly listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question also. I think that putting myself in positions that I normally wouldn't put myself in to be able to see these voices and hear these people, hear these people and their voices is something that is definitely important and that I aim to do. And then additionally, just doing my best to remove all my personal bias and just thinking of CSU as a collective, not just as me as an individual.
And just generally, what made you decide to want to be involved in LSAT?
Yeah, well, I had interest in being involved last semester, but unfortunately I had class at that time, or the time we met. So now that I don't, it's really something I've just been interested in a while for. And just being down in the Capitol and seeing how legislation is getting worked out, especially the ones that are impacting students here, students such as me and everyone else in this room. It's just kind of been like a small little passion, I guess, that I finally had time to fully commit myself to.
Yeah, I was really excited. As I said, I transferred. So coming here to a bigger university that has a bigger student government, I was really interested in participating in that. And then being a non-voting member in LSAB and just seeing how the process works, I became even more interested and encouraged to just take part further within that. So yeah.
I have one last question. How do you plan to reach out to your constituency, which is the entire student body?
That is a wonderful question. Luckily, our excellent Chief of Staff, Braxton Dietz, has, I believe, reserved a table every Wednesday for the rest of the semester. And so I plan to be sitting out there whenever I'm available on Wednesdays, which happens to be my busiest day, but I will strive to make as much time as possible for all students here at CSU so I can get everyone's input, not just the student view.
I think that's a really good question also. I think it's really hard to be able to see everyone, like every individual's personal opinions on something. However, I think talking to as many people as you can, participating in as many things as you can, and then also talking to other people who have the same goals to listen to the student body is really important because you yourself cannot do that, but you can aim to do that and reach out and create a network of people who also think that way.
Thank you so much. I yield.
Thank you, Senator AP.
Okay, so my question is actually for Director Starr. Can you tell me how many executive members are in LSAB, not including the president or the
Yeah, so LSAB is structured where Evan and I are the co-chairs, and then the executives 4 members. The president gets an automatic buy-in, it's in his job description, and then there's 3 executive members outside that for a total of 4.
Okay, cool. So the spot is one of those for you. Can you tell me how a general LSAT meeting goes? Like, let's talk about what the books, like, plans are made.
Yeah, definitely. So it's different for the fall and spring semester. So in the fall semester, we had a lot of stakeholder meetings with elected officials and with our lobbyists to kind of get an understanding of what we could accomplish. And then in the spring, we've had quite a few meetings. We have one on March 1st, for example. Every 3 weeks, we have a check-in with our contract lobbyist. So usually those go maybe 30 to 45 minutes, a legislative check-in. Our lobbyist lets us know what's going on at the state capitol, which I think there's probably 300 or 400 bills have been introduced at this point. So we kind of get a grasp of what's going on. They present bills, and a lot of times we have robust discussion on those bills. I think it was 2 meetings ago, we Senate Bill 131 was introduced. That was a bill pertaining to guns in sensitive spaces that would have banned concealed carry on campus. So we had a pretty robust discussion on the merits, the pros and cons of that bill. So some of those meetings are check-ins with our lobbyists, but then other meetings are just general discussion meetings. And then usually the third week of that process is a voting session where we have final discussion and debate, and then we take our votes for our positions. And I'll say of the 4 votes we've taken, they've all been through unanimous consent.
Okay, so to clarify, you're not meeting with elected officials this spring semester?
It depends on the legislation. So this past spring, or excuse me, the meeting we had last week, we met with Senator Hawkins Lewis. She's the author of Senate Bill 131. So we invited her to give her presentation on the bill, so that we could get a deeper understanding of the legislation.
Okay, so that was what I was worried about. For context, I interned at the Capitol Office last year, and I just did like training things. I'm trying to be a little bit careful for you. You're not allowed to be a lobbyist and also be an intern. And if you are meeting with the legislators, we're counting as a lobbyist.
I would disagree. A lobbyist, in the sense that the state capitol is a registered lobbyist, or volunteer lobbyists, and professional lobbyists are paid. And Theo is representing himself as a student and the student body on the student advisory board. So I would respectfully disagree with the characterization that Theo is acting as a lobbyist in the situation.
Right, but as an intern, you're not really supposed to be giving your opinion to the legislators. You're supposed to just be like helping. So I just want to check for you that you're not here. Obviously, doesn't matter for ASCSU. I want to make sure you're not getting swept over there.
Yes, thank you. So yes, you are correct. I'm not in the actual like a course description, I guess, because I get academic credits for the internship. It is specifically say that you're supposed to go down there and do your work for your representative or senator or lobbyist in the case of you guys signed a lobbyist. If you're not signed a lobbyist, you're supposed to just do the work that the senator or representative gives. You're not supposed to lobby for your own ideas, your own opinions, or anything like that. You just get there and do the work. For LSAB, from what I recall, interacting with Senator Hawkins Lewis, we simply asked questions about the bill. It was not like, oh, Senator, I think you should change your viewpoint on guns. Like, we're not gonna do that. So it was very much asking questions, and it was an informative session. And then after the senator logged off the Zoom call, then LSAB had a robust discussion about what we want for students, not necessarily ourselves, but for students. So I don't think there's any lobbying of the senator in that LSAB meeting. I specifically do not do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays like on the Capitol.
Okay, well, thank you. That solves that question. Moving on to my real question.
I am sorry, but we are now out of time for question and answering.
I would like to motion to extend Q&A by 10 minutes. Is there a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor, please say aye. All
Aye.
opposed, say no. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
I'm gonna say the nays have it. With that, we move on to a period of discussion debate, and I ask that the two of you step outside, please.
You don't have to. You're not being elected.
We will start discussion with Commissioners Bucket, Associate Member.
I don't have anything against these two candidates. I do think that advertising these positions and making them more widely known to the student body, I do have some concerns about that. As for these individual candidates, I don't see any reason why they can't do their job. I was fairly pleased with the answers that I heard today, and think that we should move this along, and then just think about what we want to see from LSAT as far as advertising open positions, especially ones that hold some privilege of being able to interact with, our legislators. I want to put that thought in everyone's mind, and then we move forward to get this business taken care of today. I yield.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak at this time?
I have my hand raised on Zoom.
Sorry to interrupt, go ahead.
No, you're good. I feel a lot of confidence within these candidates. And I can also speak. I served on LSAB last year while also serving as a legislative intern. And I made that pretty clear with my the aide that I was working with, in terms of what the role would look like, and just ensuring transparency there. The only rule that my aide specifically requested, which wasn't super binding because she can't, it's kind of hard to tell someone to do super far away, is that just if there's any bill that my legislator was working on that the LSAB would work on, that I would abstain from that vote. So I'm sure that's something that they could work on, that LSAB could do specifically, but also, LSAB can kind of do whatever they want as long as they're not breaking any rules. So if anyone folks have any concerns with that, trust that this is something that happens pretty commonly from year to year, and that there are ways to work around that. I know LSAB's being more involved this year than they have been in years past. But in case folks had any concerns about that, those are my thoughts. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Last call for any discussion on the debate. Seeing none, we move on to a period of voting. Vote. Associate Camper.
I would like to move to ratify these candidates with unanimous consent.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, these candidates are ratified with unanimous consent.
Oh.
I state your name.
I, Laura Broussard,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
and will rightfully perform
and will rightfully perform
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
And with that, we adjourn. I'll see you all next week.
I forgot that Sammy did that last year. I forgot about it.